Well, great road win in league to really kind of start off league play. So anytime you go on the road, obviously it's great, but it's also in the league. First game of the league wasn't their first game, but our first game in the league was obviously a great weekend. But the great thing about it was I think we had a little adversity. Some people would look at the score and think that it was in the bag from the get-go, but to go on the road and to have to handle some adversity, and adversity was in the first half, but defensively, that opening drive. I mean, they go about 6-7 plays right down the field, score a touchdown. And we had kind of talked about that, about the ability for us to get on the road to play complementary football. Not that I thought that something like that could happen. I knew the quarterback was a dynamic guy. He was going to make some plays. We were going to have to adjust and adapt a little bit to, whatever the situation, whatever it is that they were going to do. It kind of happened, and then the offense, answered the bell, went down, drove the ball right down the field, which really, not just because they got a touchdown, but even the way they did it, gave us an opportunity defensively to kind of settle back in, talk about some things, make some adjustments. You aren't running back out there whether it's a 3-play and out, or even a quick drive if they score on a big play, and they're right back in there without being able to make some adjustments. So we were able to handle some adversity defensively. Offensively, we had to handle some adversity. We lost Garrett Campbell, who went down, and then obviously we turned the ball over the next snap on a little bit of a bad snap and a mishandled ball. And it's only 14-7 at the time, so you have a turnover, which is an adversity on the offense, which then gives them the ball back, and they go down, have an opportunity to put the ball in the end zone to tie the ball game. We make a really good play defensively, force them to kick a field goal, to attempt a field goal. They miss it, and then offensively to end that half, we come back out in a 2-minute situation and drive down the field for a big play touchdown in about 45 seconds. I think that allowed us, obviously sprung us to make the game the way it was and come out the second half. But as a coach, you kind of look back and say, well, we had to battle through some things. We had to battle through some adversity, both offensively and defensively, which I think makes us better in the long run. So we got a chance to grow. We got a lot of guys that got an opportunity to get in there late in that game, which again allows us not only, and we keep talking about the third youngest team in college football right now, it might even be a little bit more, because we got some younger guys that got an opportunity to go in there and to play a good quarter's worth of football. So those are things that, as a coach, you say, hey, these things are going to give us opportunities to grow and to get better at what it is that we do.
Could you give us an update on Garrett Campbell, what he has, what's the other?
He broke his ankle. He got a fractured ankle, so he'll be out for a while. I don't know exactly how long, but it's not a mystery. It'll be a little while.
Win total from the past 2 years. Does that go back to being able to handle some success?
Well, we haven't had this since I've been here. We haven't had to worry about that. So it's another thing for us. Every year, each and every week brings something a little bit different. It's a good problem to have, but it's also an issue. So those are the things that, as you build the maturity of what you do inside that locker room, allows these guys to handle all different things, whether it's praise, whether it's some success, whether it's big plays against you. I think that's the thing to me with handling a little adversity that we did a better job of, even defensively last week. In that second half, I think they got down there. No, in the first half, that last drive that they had an opportunity to tie the ball game up, we had a couple penalties that led to first downs, which we didn't panic and we didn't lose our minds, and we still continue to play. So, yeah, it always worries you that you got to be able to handle some of these positive things and what's being said out and around. But when you look at the whole, you're hoping and you're seeing the growth maturity-wise on the field, which obviously translates off the field as well.
How did you feel like your non-conference schedule prepared you guys for conference?
Well, to go on the road was, to go to UCLA, I think is a great thing. I know that some people would say, that's your first game, and that's a tough opener, and regardless of what they've done the rest of the year. But I think it allows you to kind of do what it is you're going to do. You're going to have some big games on the road. Inside your league, they're going to be huge games. So what it does as a young team too, it helps you to kind of grow together, because when you go on the road, you got 74, 75 guys, and that's it. And so I think that it gave us the opportunity to challenge ourselves. Then to have Alabama A&M, which gives us a little bit of a different opportunity, not just to play young guys, but to build some momentum, to have the chance to throw the ball around a little bit and things like that. So I say, as you look back at it now, it's been a really good progress or for us throughout the entire year. I don't know that you would always say that if things didn't go the way you wanted them to, but so far right now, looking at it, you can kind of tell that you've had some challenges, you've had some ones where you've had some other opportunities, and it's given us an opportunity to build some momentum and some positive stuff inside our program.
You guys are outscoring opponents 50-3 in the fourth quarter, and on Saturday, how important was it to keep playing when the score was well in your favor?
Well, that's where you start to get a little greedy, and greed is not a bad thing when you're just talking about on the football field. I'm not saying that we want greed in everything we do. It's not, but when you're talking about being that little bit of, talk about athletic arrogance and some of those things, you got to have confidence. You got to build confidence. As you start to do well, you start to get a little bit greedy, and that's not a bad thing. That's as long as you're preparing, as long as you're still working at it. But when you get into those situations, I think it applies some pressure to some of those young guys going in the game. Those guys are on the sidelines. Yeah, they're having a good time, but as coaches, you're getting a little greedy with, hey, we expect you that you can step in there and still do the things that that the first guys did. And they're not pulling back. They're not going to put their young guys in, and that's still their best receiver going down the middle of the field. They're trying to get the touchdown into with maybe a young quarterback, but I think that's all part of the growing process. And it's not just them playing, it's the pressure that hopefully, even though the score is what it is, it's the pressure that they feel from even their own teammates to not let them down based on, hey, we don't want to give up any more than 7 points.
Could you talk about your defense, number 2 in the country in scoring defense? What's different this year?
They're not scoring as many points?
Aside from the culture change we can talk about a lot, technique-wise, is it?
We're doing it. When we've had issues, it's been in tackling. We've done a much better job, obviously, covering down the field, allowing ourselves to challenge guys, which in turn makes people have to make some big plays. They have to be accurate at what they're doing. You kind of look at it, and even the big catches this past weekend, I wasn't disappointed in them. The tight end caught 2 balls on our defensive end, on our jack. And I was really happy. They were great. Give them credit. That was a great throw, great catch. They're contested throws and catches, and that's what we want. We want to be able to have an opportunity to challenge every throw, contest every throw. Makes teams have to do the little things in order to beat you or to make some of those big plays. So I think the combination of being able to tackle better, tracking the ball better in that back end where you're challenging most every throw, I think it allows you and gives you some opportunities for your guys to make plays.
Do you have any injury updates on Dokes?
Dokes is going to be out for a while. So he had a little surgery on something in his groin. Don't know exactly how long he'll be out, but he's going to be out for a little while longer, and could be, I don't know, could be 2, could be 4. I don't have any idea. No. I could have an ACL surgeon. I wouldn't tell him it's season ending because I think that mentally puts them in a spot where they stop maybe working and at least preparing and things like that. So I would never say that, no matter what this injury is. But I hope it's not going to be a season ending.
Was it? I know he tried to come back kind of towards the end of camp. Was it just it didn't heal the way he thought it would?
I'm not a doctor. I don't know. It's an imperfect science. I know that.
How did the team respond? Obviously, him being out for a while, but especially Garrett being a senior.
We'll see. You can look at the second half, and that was the challenge. Not saying that that was the only reason why we came out and played the way we did the second half, but adversity can either make you stronger or it can hurt you and make you crumble, and that's the challenge to us as an offense, as an offensive line unit, and as a team. That's a big loss. He's a lot for us, and so which means they're going to put a little more pressure on some other guys and see how they react and respond.
You talked last year about being able to run the ball. You guys have 14 rushing touchdowns this year. Can you just give your thoughts on success?
I think that we've made an emphasis. I think that we've done a really good job up front and given an opportunity. Mike Warren is a guy that has done a great job at running the football. Our challenges are going to continue to grow. This is a really good football team we're playing and a defensive football team that's going to challenge you in everything you do. So each and every week poses something a little bit different, but I know as a program, as a philosophy, we want to be able to run the football. We want to be able to have this thing start up front. And, Garrett Campbell was a big part of that. His opportunity, his chance, or his willingness to move to center for us wasn't his most natural position. You know, he really probably felt most comfortable at guard and things like that, and that has been a big step for us to move him into that center spot. But you know, Jakari was the other guy. He was the sixth guy as we rolled all basically through camp, saying what's going to be the best combination, and he's going to get another opportunity for us.
You talked last week about Dendell and wanted to try and bottle him up, and you guys seem to do a pretty good job of that. Do you feel like that is a reflection of them taking coaching and film?
It is. I got to give a ton of credit to the defensive front. And not just because they played well, but because they believed in what we were telling them. I mean, everybody wants to rush. Everybody wants to get on an edge. I mean, all you got to do is pop on the untimed down last year against them. I mean, we're getting great rush off the edge with Kamani, and he turns his hips and his pressure on the quarterback, and he just takes off and runs. And you're not going to catch him. So you had to be really much more disciplined in what we were doing, and truly believe that we had to make him throw out of a hole and kind of keep him in that pocket. And I don't know that he, maybe had the versatility. Maybe he was a little bit dinged up from the week before, but nonetheless, you've seen him run on like the fifth play of the game. He didn't look too bad. But those guys up front just did a really good job playing disciplined. And even when you got the score a little bit out of control, when you get up by 3 or 4 touchdowns, a lot of times guys revert right back to saying, hey, how am I going to get myself a sack or two here? And to see Kamani and Cortez and Michael Pitts and Marquise Copeland stick with the plan and not deviate even based on what the situation was, you see that maturity growing. It's got to continue, but you like what you see.
Offensively, coming into the year, there was a need for more splash plays. The last couple of weeks, Rashad Medeiros has given you that. Can you just talk about his development and being a threat?
Huge. I mean, Rashad, Josiah. I mean, there's a lot of plays out there that are being made, and I think it's it's a confidence level too. I mean, maybe last year we wouldn't have taken those shots. The first game of the year, we wouldn't have taken those shots. Second game of the year, obviously based on the conditions, we didn't take some of those shots. But as you build those confidence, not just in the receiver, but the quarterback and the protection, I think it allows you to open up a little bit more. So it's a combination of all. Believe those guys can make plays. They're helping make the quarterback look really good. I think that's probably is one of those big things that if you just kind of step back and take a look at last year, and not that last year is anything, but even through fall camp and sometimes it's, how do we make the quarterback look really good? We know how you do it. You're like Rashad Medeiros. It's a great throw, but it's a really, really good catch. His catch against OU. Yeah, it's a good throw, but he also finished it off with a 78-yard touchdown, and Ja'Shawn Jackson. So there's some guys out there that are really giving him an opportunity to look good as well.
With DeGuara, he's not your typical tight end in terms of size. How have you been able to utilize?
What's my typical tight end?
Well, he's not 6'5", 200.
So is that your typical tight end, or is that our typical tight end?
That's what they look like now.
Where?
But I mean, he's not textbook. He's a little bit undersized for what the position's become. How have you been able to utilize him?
It's not. I mean, I think that his ability to grow. I think that's where he is unique in some ways. I mean, I don't tell him he's undersized. I don't tell him he's not prototypical. There's a lot of guys like that. But who's to say what is? What we want is guys that have versatility. And I think that's what you're starting to be able to see that he provides for us is some versatility. Whether it's wide receivers that have versatility means they'll block. Well, they're not just a guy that's going to run go routes. Tight ends that can block, can line up in line, can line up off the ball, can run behind the line of scrimmage and block guys, can insert and block guys, also can flex out and make some plays down the field. The thing that Josiah brings you is the flexibility. To not say, hey, when this guy comes in the game, they're throwing the football. Hey, when this guy's in the game, they're running the football. So he provides us flexibility. His intelligence goes a long way too.
Tulane, obviously coming off a big win, you touched on it a little bit. The average fan sees, Tulane.
They're playing really hard. It's a completely different team than what I saw last year, and regardless of what the record is. I mean, they just beat a Memphis team who was, 1 point away from beating UCF in the championship game last year. So they came out and played really well. They really did. I think they're playing at a high level, and I'm not saying that they're that much different. They still do the same things offensively. They're doing a lot of the similar things defensively. But the way they play, the aggressive nature that they play with, the attitude they play with is different than what I saw on film last year. Pop on their special teams. I mean, they blocked a punt against UAB not because they schemed something up, just because a guy out-efforted another guy. So you're seeing those things are what I look for. what I look for on film to say, okay, what kind of a challenge is this going to pose to us? OU came in here really tough, hungry, and I say it's a lot like that with more athletes and some better situations. Defensively, I think better because some of the things that they can do, but play that physical and that tough.
You can talk about their running game. They had 2 backs rush for 100 yards each in the win last week. What's the plan to limit
Fill up the gaps, tackle well. I mean, it still comes down to meat and defeat and blocks. I mean, they have a really good scheme. They'll run the option. The quarterback is a viable guy on every situation. Not that he's run the ball maybe statistically as much as he did maybe last year, because he's more of a quarterback. He's able to distribute the ball. I think the unique thing that they got is some of the balance that with the RPOs, it's still a run, but they're doing a really good job at pulling things, reading them, and making some plays down the field, throwing the football. So that helps their run game far more than what I think they maybe had last year.
Coming into the season, it was pretty clear you and other offensive coaches were high on Dez. Is there any sense of validation of how well he's played early on?
No, I mean, I think everybody felt like this kid was going to be a really good football player. The ability to do some things around him has really helped him. I'm not saying that he wouldn't be a good football player without the running game, because he's still a confident kid. He's got a lot of ability, and there's some things he can do, even throwing the ball and running the ball. But the emergence of having a really solid offensive line, a tailback that can take a lot of pressure off of you, some receivers that have made some plays down the field, I think has enhanced his ability to improve, gain his confidence, and allow himself to shine a little bit more. So, the ability to handle some of those things and continue to grow, that's what you love about the kid, is he's a pro. Even though he's 18 years old, 19 years old, he's a pro. It means he loves what he's doing. He continues to work at it every single day. I'm not sure there's a day goes by that he's not looking and working and studying the game of football. And those are the guys that in the long run end up becoming the most successful.
I wanted to follow up on something you said last week, Coach, when you said at the end of the year we'll get what we earned. You guys are 5-0 at this point on the doorstep of being ranked. Do you think this team's earned a spot in the top 25?
Not something I spend a whole lot of time with. We win 3 or 4 more games, then I'll worry about that. But we're where we are right now, and that's what we deserve. We deserve to be 5-0. That's where we are. What anybody else thinks, there's going to be a lot of opportunities here down this next 6 or so games, 7-game stretch that we'll have an opportunity to prove some things to people outside of here. But to me, the most important thing is to continue to build, what's in here as opposed to worrying about what's out there. And that's, you could say that's cliche, that's a coach talking, but that's the philosophy of us as a program. When we feel like we're at that point in time and, we've made some other things happen, then yeah, we'll want what we deserve, but I truly believe we'll get it.
Challenge your coach talk here as well. When you said earlier that, and I think you said last week, I was under a rock and I didn't know these things. And you talked about some of the guys starting to feel some stuff from the outside people talking about the program. Are you starting to notice anything more as it gets further and further on?
Yeah, I mean, you start to get some calls and some text messages about guys that want tickets, and you're like, oh, okay, so this place is going to be a little more filled up, and because people do recognize, people do see, and we're all we all love a winner, whether that's friends of mine who haven't been around for a while, or people even in the community. That's fine with me. I don't care as long as they get on, the bandwagon, and so yeah, you can start to sense and feel, even if you live under a rock that a lot of us live under. But you just got to be able to handle it and continue to move forward, and don't change what it is that you do, because it's working.
Does the fact that this game is the homecoming game change the preparation leading up to it?
No. I mean, yeah, there's some other things that might drive you a little crazy because you got a routine of what you want to do, but for our players, there's nothing different. It's a noon start, which is not something that we've done a great job of this year. Only had one of them. We've had a lot of these late night starts, 3:30 starts, had one early start. So we got to do a much better job. So there's a lot of things that we know we can do a better job and learn from what we've done happened to us in the past.
How important, with Garrett out for a while, to have Jakari go in and face a little adversity, but then rebound and put together something?
It's great. I mean, those things are invaluable to have that happen, and the game would already been maybe a little bit more out of reach. the pressure wouldn't have been on. You know, that's like I said, some of the defensive guys that go in there, you know, the pressure, hopefully you kept on them because the older guys and, you know, hey, we only give up 7 points and we don't want to give up any more points. And, you know, so you love the pressure to make guys have to go out there and perform because at some point in time they're going to go in. It's going to be a different situation and there's going to be a natural pressure that's going to be on them. And you don't want it to be their first time.